To chapter 2, into this speech that Jacob is going to give. By the way, as you're just reading through and studying on your own or with your families, I hope you can sense the different voice coming out of these pages from Jacob compared to Nephi's personality and his writing styles. Jacob's a different prophet. He's a different writer. He gets up in front of these people at the temple, and it takes him. He spends 12 verses lamenting the fact that he even has to address these topics that he's about to share with the people. He's saying things like, "Oh, I am so sorry you women and children have to be here to hear this. I wish I could speak to you about the wonderful and beautiful things, the glorious things of the kingdom, but I've got some really, really rough things." And as you're reading chapter 2, verse 1 through 11, you're like, okay, what have you got here, Jacob? It takes him a long time to get into the rebuke. But boy, once he gets into the rebuke, he takes off the boxing gloves and he lets them have it. Okay, you will notice as you do your own personal study in verse 13 through 22, he's going to address this issue of them seeking after gold and silver and precious things. One of the items that was on that list from Deuteronomy. Don't have your whole life's purpose be devoted to accumulating wealth, which these Nephites are doing. But then he says, I've got to change subjects here, and I've got to tell you about a grosser crime. Verse 22. I really wish I didn't have to do this, but here I go. And then he jumps into David and Solomon in verse 23 and 24, telling them, "Behold, David and Solomon truly had many wives and concubines, which thing was abominable before me, saith the Lord." Now, some of you might be familiar with the Doctrine and Covenants, where it talks about God giving David and Solomon multiple wives. So that's the thing, is God started out with this law for David and Solomon. He gave them multiple wives, but then they went beyond that. With David, the famous story of David and Bathsheba being the ultimate example. With Solomon, he ends up, according to the biblical account, with 700 wives, 300 concubines,